Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a sports betting perspective, with pro handicappers Alex B. Smith and veteran sports writer Jimmy Murphy. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network, Tuesday, December 14th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, Jimmy Murphy momentarily as well. We're back after a one-day absence. What are we going to do? No games yesterday. How can we have a show? So it was an unexpected day off for the entire crew. We don't get many, but boy, we enjoy it when we do. But we're back here, and man, we're going to make up for it today. If you were disappointed and you were upset and you were groveling a little bit and a little depressed that there was no Ice Guys show yesterday, man, we're going to make up for it and then some today. It is a huge Tuesday NHL card. We've got 13 games taking place in NHL action tonight, and of course, we will break them all down for you right here on the show. No shortage of player personnel question marks going into tonight, and that is without a doubt, as unfortunately COVID-19 and the Omicron strain of COVID-19 specifically is wreaking incredible havoc across the sports landscape. Doesn't matter if it's NHL, NBA, NFL, you name it. It is impacting multiple sports in a big way the last few days, and we have seen just an extreme uptick and surge in COVID-19 positive cases in the sports world the last few days. And we're going to do our best here on the show today to sort it all out for you as best we can with the latest up-to-date information on all of these games involving, obviously a lot of teams impacted with COVID protocol issues. So we'll get right to it, and we'll start with a game that does have some COVID-19 protocol issues involved with it. It's the Vegas Golden Knights and the Boston Bruins. Even money here, both sides, 5.5, 6 being the total in this game. When you look at the Vegas Golden Knights, first of all, we'll talk about it from a hockey standpoint. Vegas certainly playing good hockey right now. They've gotten themselves a lot healthier, although Shea Theodore injured himself in the last game, and we'll see if he plays tonight. He's dealing with a injury that might lead to him missing this game. Right now, game time decision is what they are saying at the moment for him. But this Golden Knights team at the moment, just really, really strong what we're seeing out of them. They have just become a machine offensively. I mean, they are just filling the net. That's all there is to it right now. You look at this run of 4-1 in their last 5. They've scored 7, 3, 5, 3, and 6 goals in those last 5 games. So this is definitely an offense that's feeling it right now for the Vegas Golden Knights. We'll see if they can keep it rolling here. Mark Stone's an offensive dynamo right now. Max Pacioretty, Stevenson's been great. So it's a Vegas team that's full of confidence right now. The Boston Bruins, they're coming off a road trip in Western Canada, of course, 3 games out there, Vancouver, Edmonton, and Calgary, and they end up going 2-1, very close to going 3-0. Because they lost in a shootout to the Canucks, who are undefeated since Bruce Boudreau took over. So solid road trip for Boston on the road, but now they're back home. First game off the road trip is always a little bit of a dicey situation, and they've got some issues with this team at the moment as well. When you look at it, Craig Smith added to the protocol list for the Boston Bruins in terms of COVID protocol. Brad Marchand's on that list as well. There's question marks about his ability to suit up tonight. So it's just lots of issues here for Boston. I don't love the spot. It's that general situation and scheduling spot you don't necessarily love in terms of backing a team. And that's returning home off a road trip and a successful one for the Bruins. Plus, to me, I just think Vegas is better than Boston. I thought coming into the year, Vegas would be probably a better hockey team than Boston. And I don't want to, totally rain on the parade of the Bruins' good vibes and positive feelings coming out of that road trip. But look, Edmonton's scuffling at the moment. Calgary's not as good at home as they are on the road. 2 pretty good wins, but still. And Stuart Skinner was in net for the Edmonton game as well. Vancouver was the loss, and they've obviously picked it up with Boudreau. No, it's a good road trip, but I think they're going to be tested here. First game back, maybe a shorthanded lineup against a red-hot Vegas team. So I like the Golden Knights here at a slight underdog price. You can get plus 105, plus 102 at some spots, even money. It's right around that range of, I'm seeing minus 105. I'm seeing plus 100. I'm seeing plus 105 on Vegas. So shop around. It's right around that even money price, and certainly would lean over the total as well. Vegas, as long as they're scoring. And like I say, what the Bruins defense has clearly shown me this year, they play teams where the offense is in good form, like Vegas right now. They struggle to keep the puck out of their own net. I still remember the Ranger game a few weeks back, 5-2 loss to the New York Rangers in that game. So I like I like Vegas rather, and I like over the total as well in this one. Alex, Vegas and Boston.
Yeah, as soon as I heard that Brad Marchand was out, I jumped all over Vegas money line plus $1.10. I figured those will all be pretty much gone, especially now that they added Craig Smith, and now we're seeing pick and price, but it's flipping the other way. So this is definitely going to close probably Vegas minus $1.20, $1.25. So grab the Golden Knights now if you like that side. Shout out to Jarek Rubel in the chat. Was talking with him before we were talking about the first period over. It makes a lot of sense. This is as cheap of a price you're probably going to get with the first period over involving Vegas right now. They're one of the hotter teams in that category. Obviously, Boston not really known for getting off the fast starts, just 3-7 to the first period over their last 10. And now with no Marchand, you wonder, can they get offense going? So I lean with the first period over, maybe even take a shot with I don't know if you can find a reverse puck line with Vegas in the first period, but if not, just maybe go first period money line, full game money line each with Vegas. That's probably what I'll do. I'll just go first period Vegas and full game on both of the money line.
All right, there we go. A couple of recommendations there on this one for Alex and this one. The Bruins will have somebody back with them tonight, and that's Bruce Cassidy, the head coach. He'll be back behind the bench. He is no longer in COVID-19 protocol. Of course, Joe Sacco's been filling that void behind the bench in the interim head coach, or the acting head coach, I should say, during the last few games. But Bruce Cassidy will be back behind the bench for the Bruins. Good timing for Jimmy Murphy to join the show with the Bruins, the first game on the card. Jimmy, welcome in. Vegas, Boston. What do you think? I think we got Jimmy just via audio today, and looks like he's got the audio issue. Jimmy?
Yeah, I think he dropped out.
Yeah, I think he dropped out. So we'll see if we can link back up with Jimmy. Obviously, want to get his thoughts on this Bruins team. One that if you saw Jimmy's Twitter feed, at Murphy's Law 74, he was pretty worried about that road trip that Boston was going on, and they ended up playing a whole lot better than they did here. So there we go. Did I not add? That's right. I didn't add him onto the stage. No wonder. Bad production by the host here. That's why.
Kind of hard for me to get in that way, man.
Yeah.
Help backstage.
There he is. All right, Jimmy.
What's going on, guys?
Good to have you.
How are you? Yeah, this is not a good situation. I mean, already I'm with you, Ian. I was looking at the Knights on the slight underdog price here coming in just because of the spot for the Bruins. Successful road trip. They come back. And not that Bruce Cassidy is a bad coach or anything, but all of a sudden back to a different voice behind the bench, yelling the orders out. So I just think that just a lot happening at once. And now you add in the COVID protocol of Craig Smith and Brad Marchand, and it's just a hurricane of bad fortune, I think, for the Bruins in this spot. I love Vegas, and I'm going to actually go right with a reverse puck line on this. Give me the Vegas Golden Knights on the reverse puck line in this game. And I'll also take the Knights to win in regulation in the first period.
All right, so there we go. That's a double puck line for Jimmy with the Vegas Golden Knights. That's a first period and full game puck line on the Vegas Golden Knights, recommended by Jimmy here in this one. That looks like right now we can get Vegas minus 1.5 at plus 250, and of course Vegas first period puck line. In this one, looks like it would be a pretty solid price as well. First period puck line would be plus 185 for the Vegas Golden.
So yeah, Ian, mark me down for that too, because that's what I was trying to think of. I knew it wasn't exactly a first period puck like reverse puck line, but it's to win in regulation. So that's
So there you go, minus 0.5 plus 185 first period, and then that minus 1.5 plus 250 for the full game puck line for Jimmy as well in this one. So, hey, Jimmy, are you were rough on the Bruins for thinking that road trip was going to be poor for them. It turned out better. And I know you said, hey, they got me. I thought they definitely exceeded my expectations with that 3-game Western Canadian swing.
For sure. And even though I was going to pick Vegas anyways, even before Marchand and Smith went on COVID protocol, it's not a reflection of that. I think the Bruins are playing poorly right now because, like I said on Twitter, they made me eat a lot of crow there. And I think the goaltenders specifically, with Tuukka Rask hanging around practice now, and now today actually taking in a full practice with them. They had 3 goalies on the ice. Rask was one of them, Swayman, and then Allmark. I think that made these goalies say, "Uh-oh, I mean, we got to get our act together here because this guy's coming. He's taking one of our jobs." I mean, more than likely it's going to be Swayman just for the sole fact that he doesn't have to go through waivers and Allmark does. But, I think that prompted them to kind of look in the mirror and say, we've been letting in some softies. So kudos to them for getting their act together there. I think there were some games that they absolutely stole there. I thought Swayman stole a point in that shootout loss to Vancouver. And I don't think the Bruins should have really won in Calgary. I thought Calgary, for a good portion of that game, outplayed them. But the goaltending was coming up huge.
So now, Jimmy, I got a question. With Tuukka Rask technically being a free agent, and with all the issues going on now with the Bruins and the COVID protocol, is there a possibility, or would this be like, I don't know how this would work, but could he be called signed as an emergency goalie that wouldn't count as anything against the cap? And then of course later on, if they want to sign him as a full free agent, but could that possibly be a situation for the Bruins?
That's a great question, Alex, because I mean that's how the Bruins themselves have referred to Rask as their e-bug in these times that he has jumped in for Allmark. Allmark was out twice. Yesterday, he failed, or I don't know if he failed a test or not, but there were testing issues for Allmark. So Rask jumped in, and they listed him as the e-bug, and they did that before when Allmark was hurt.
Okay.
So if they're listing him as that in practice, can they officially do it in a game? I'm not sure. That's something I'll have to look into. It's actually a great idea and a good idea for a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's certainly good points raised there. By the way, we're welcoming everybody in the chat. We've got people overseas joining us in the YouTube chat on the show today. We appreciate it because I know it's a late evening, late night, even overnight in some of these parts. So we appreciate that for sure. Make sure you hit the like button if you are enjoying the show. We move on to New Jersey and Philadelphia. Philadelphia minus 120, home favorites, 6 the total in this game. And all of a sudden, back-to-back W's for the Philadelphia Flyers with Mike Yeo in the interim head coaching spot. 4-3 over Vegas, 5-3 against Arizona. Both of them on the road. Now they return home, face the Devils, who have lost 2 in a row and really slumped. 1-6 in their last 7 games. The only victory was against this Flyers team just last week, 3-0 shutout win for New Jersey. So this is a game where a lot of personnel issues on both sides as well. Keep that in mind. For the Devils, Ryan Graves on the blue line is out. Nico Hischier's out. It looks like Igor Sharangovich might not play tonight either. He's a game-time decision for the Devils. Flyers have their share of key personnel out as well, of course, including Derek Brassard. And Joel Farabee's a big one because he's had a really nice season for the Flyers so far, and he's on injured reserve and not expected to be in the lineup tonight for them. So a lot of injuries both ways. You've got the Flyers certainly coming back home off a 2-game swing. They are playing better, and you got to give them credit for that. I'm certainly not ready to lay a price with them here. Don't know if I'll get involved, but I would only take New Jersey at the small plus price. They've actually dominated the Flyers head-to-head as well. It's worth noting that 5-1 the last 6 head-to-head meetings in favor of the Devils. So we'll lean to New Jersey here. Don't know if I'll bet it, but I certainly lean in that direction. And unfortunately, we have some breaking news here that Carolina versus Minnesota has been postponed. And I don't think this is the first game that you're going to see. It's not the last game, I should say. We've already seen Calgary's games postponed this week, but this is not going to be the last game you see postponed this week. This is becoming major concerns now with the influx of COVID cases. And now you're seeing teams having to sit 4, 5, 6 regulars because of this. And it just makes it unfair from a competitive balance perspective. And that's why they are forced into this position to postpone some of these games. So it's unfortunate. It's we're all basically sick of COVID at this point. We are. And it's, to me, it's just the fact that it's wrangling the sports world again in such a massive way. It's frustrating. It really is. But hey, it's not much you can do. You just hope that you ride through this unfortunate surge that we're seeing quickly. We get past it and we're able to move forward in a better way. But right now, it's definitely tough sledding across all sports right now with an uptick in COVID-19 cases fueled of course, by the Omicron variant here. Alex, your thoughts on this Devils and Flyers game?
Yeah, I mean, okay, we're not gonna throw a parade for Mike Yeo because he beat the Arizona Coyotes. So they've won 2 in a row. Okay, big deal. Now they got to play a division opponent, like I said, that's dominated them pretty well in New Jersey. This is a game I like the first period over here, but we are seeing, like I said, Yeo has kind of kept his word playing with pace. We've seen them jump out to get us some goals early, and New Jersey is a team that's sneaky offensively, can definitely get some goals. Yeah, this is definitely one I feel like it might even be a better shot to take the plus money with both teams to score in the first period if you can find that. I think that might even be a better option, but either way, you'll still cash the first period over at 1.5, laying $1.25.
All right, Jimmy, you have any thoughts here? Flyers versus Devils.
Yeah, you know what? Every time these two teams match up, I've been wrong on it. So I'm going to pass on this because I can't read them when they play.
Nothing wrong with that. Montreal, Pittsburgh. We've got Pittsburgh minus 300 home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. Obviously, Penguins, huge favorites, playing great hockey, Pittsburgh as well. I mean, let's give them a lot of credit for the way they have played. 4 straight wins, 7-3 in their last 10 games. That being said, one of the losses was against Montreal, believe it or not, 6-3. Montreal hasn't won a lot of games lately. In fact, they've lost 6 in a row coming into tonight. But one of Montreal's recent wins came against this Pittsburgh Penguins team back on November 27th. So it's Pittsburgh's first time playing them since then. Obviously, it is a massive amount of the player personnel absences for the Montreal Canadiens, combination of COVID-19 protocol and injury. Brendan Gallagher, Christian Dvorak, Jake Evans, Joel Edmondson, Tyler Toffoli, Jeff Petrie, Josh Anderson. It is definitely a mash unit lineup, and Montreal's struggling because of it. 6 straight losses, 4-1 defeat to St. Louis in their last game. This Penguins team playing solid defensively. They've given up 2 goals or less in 4 straight games, all of them victories. How about Tristan Jarry's numbers in the last several starts for him? You look at the way he's playing in net right now for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's been terrific. There's no denying that whatsoever. In his last 9 starts, 1.1 goals against, 960 save percentage, 7-1-1 in those games for Tristan Jarry. So, it's been a team defense mindset for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They have their couple of key guys out as well. Of course, Malkin's been out all year, although he's closing in on a return. Brian Rust is out. Jake Gensel's going to be out for the Penguins, but they've still found ways to win games here. They did lose to Montreal the last time, and for that reason, guys, I think Pittsburgh's actually not going to take this game lightly. You think you got a struggling Montreal team coming in here, but last time Pittsburgh played them, it didn't go well, and I believe it was DeSmith in net that night. Keep that in mind. It wasn't Tristan Jarry, so I think Pittsburgh gets them back here. This is going to be a very rare first period full game puck line split for me on Pittsburgh. Don't do this very often, but I'm going to go Pittsburgh minus 0.5 plus 110 first period puck line, and also the minus 1.5 minus 120 with the full game puck line. I like both of those here tonight. And I'm going to sprinkle a correct score prop. Now, it's probably not going to win because the one time I called one on the show and I didn't bet it, it was Dallas, Arizona. It ended 4-1. I didn't bet it. I forgot to bet it because I'm a moron sometimes. But nevertheless, we've got Montreal and Pittsburgh. I'm going to go with a correct score prop here. I'm going to sprinkle on 3-1 for Pittsburgh and 4-1 for Pittsburgh at a 9-1 plus 900 for Pittsburgh, 4-1 plus 1,100 for Pittsburgh, 3-1. I think they win by that kind of score tonight, in my opinion. So I think this is a very good, correct score opportunity. You sprinkle on both, which is what I'm doing. 3-1, 4-1 Pittsburgh. If one of them comes through, you're profitable. That's the goal when it comes to betting both of those correct score props. So there you go. A couple correct score props. And I'm also going to go Penguins first period and full game puck line. Alex, Habs and Penguins.
I'm actually seeing a Montreal team total 1.5 under plus 190. Would you take a shot with that potentially?
That's pretty good too, because I don't know if Montreal is getting more than 1 goal right now with the way this Pittsburgh team is defending right now as a unit. And obviously with the way Tristan Jarry has been in net during this 9-10 game stretch of his, so where he has a 1.1 goals against average, that falls right in line with a Montreal team that you would expect is going to have a hard time putting the puck in the net, and a Montreal team that's coming off a shutout to Chicago 2-0 and only scoring 1 against St. Louis. on Saturday night. So
Yeah.
I actually like that. That's a great price on that
Yeah.
under
So,
1.5 team total.
So you find that, I mean, you're playing with fire because you know 2 goals crushes you, but especially if the game gets out of hand, then you worry about garbage time the other way with that kind of a total. But yeah, I agree with you. I feel like this is gonna be a one-sided Pittsburgh game. So the only way with the tactics would be team totals or looking for things in game. It's gonna be a pass for me because there's other stuff I like on the card, even though we've already lost another game that I liked. This is still nothing that's really jumped out at me enough to make a bet on.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, the combo bet. I've talked about those combo side and total same game bets. I've recommended a few of those on the show this year, and more of them have cashed than not. That is definitely something you can consider as well in this game. I certainly wouldn't talk anyone out of looking in that kind of direction as well. So definitely, because you can go so many different ways. There's no question. And, there's even some better prices with some of those 4-1 Pittsburgh, 3-1 Pittsburgh at some other books. So make sure you shop around. But yeah, Pittsburgh and under 5.5, is a combo bet. Pittsburgh to win and under 5.5 goals, which is certainly something I would lean with as well. You can get that at plus 150 to plus 160, at some books. So there's just so many different, ways you can go about betting a particular stance that you have. And this game's proof of that. So, Pittsburgh first period puck line, Pittsburgh full game puck line. Alex mentioned Montreal team total under 1.5 plus 190. Pittsburgh to win and under 5.5 at plus 150. I mean, there's a lot of different options you can go with. I like them all, to be honest with you. Jimmy, what do you think here? Montreal and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh wins. You just can't get too much value on the side there. So I'm going to just look at the over-under here and go straight up with the under. I just don't see Montreal scoring a lot. I'd be tempted to do what you guys are talking about with the under 1.5. But it's chancy, like he said, Alex, 2 goals and boom, you're done. So I'm going to just look at the total here to stay under 5.5.
All right, Los Angeles, Tampa Bay. We've got Tampa Bay minus 180 to minus 190. Home favorites here, 5.5 the total in this game. The Lightning certainly, they haven't had many clunkers. They have not had many stinkers. They have not had many games lately where they've said, this team was just flat out horrible. They had it against Ottawa on Saturday. It's funny. I was with our guy, Andrew McInnis, on Saturday. The end of this game was going on. I had it on at the bar there that we were at. And I've never seen Tampa rather, look as listless and lethargic in a while as that. And you got to wonder, at the end of that Eastern Canadian trip, after already beating Toronto and Montreal in back-to-back games, they had won 5 in a row. You just have one of those games you lay an egg. You don't have it. All right, Tampa Bay had one of those 4-0 shutout loss to Ottawa. Brady Tkachuk with the hat trick, by the way, for the Ottawa Senators in that game. So they do return home off that road trip, which is actually a road trip that actually went 5 games because you have to throw in the games against Boston and Philly before they went to Montreal, Toronto, and Ottawa. So it's not the greatest situation for Tampa Bay coming home off that trip, but I expect a pretty good effort from them. Let's give the Kings credit. They've won 2 in a row against Minnesota and Dallas, 6-1 combined score in those games for the LA Kings. Now they start a road trip, but man, it's a tough one. Tampa tonight. It's going to be Florida later this week, Carolina after that. So a really tough road trip for the Kings, facing a lot of good teams during this stretch here. I probably will end up sprinkling a little small bet on the first period puck line here on Tampa. I'd expect good energy early because obviously they didn't have anything of that magnitude in the Ottawa game on Saturday. So that's probably what I'll go with here, is just a little small sprinkle on Tampa Bay minus a half goal plus 145 in the first period. I expect after getting shut out by Ottawa, there's some good onus to start strong tonight at home against the Kings here. Alex, LA, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with the first period over in this. And I know that seems strange because these two teams do not trend toward the over in the first, but the situations lend to it. You have a Tampa Bay team coming off of a listless performance to end the road trip, their first game back home. You wonder, legs may not pick up right away. You got a LA Kings team that's young and feisty. They're starting a 4-game road trip going cross country. Maybe the defense doesn't travel so well in this game, but more so in the first period. So you only laying $1.10. Maybe you can find even a plus price if you shop around. I'll go with the first period over with the Bolts and the Kings.
All right, looking at the first period over here, 1.5 with the Kings and the Lightning here for Alex. In this one, the Lightning still do have some injury concerns, although it's looking like Zach Bogosian and Anthony Cirelli are going to be returning tonight for the Lightning, which is going to be good news for them because the injury bug, has hit them a little bit going into this game. They're at least hopeful he's going to play. It's not confirmed yet, but they're optimistic, probable that Cirelli's going to be in tonight. Of course, Chernak is still out, and it goes without saying Kucherov and Point are both not going to be coming back anytime soon for Tampa Bay. Jimmy, what do you think here? Kings and Lightning.
Guys, I mean, I think, you would go with the normal, like you mentioned this earlier, Ian, just the normal idea that the team's going to be flat coming back from a road trip. But the fact that they lost to the Ottawa Senators in the fashion they did means that they've probably gone through a few tough practices and a lot of really not so happy lectures from John Cooper and his staff. So I'm guessing they come out fired up. I'm actually going to do 2 bets on the Lightning here. I'm going to take them in the first period, -0.5. And then I'm going to also take the Lightning on the puck line for the whole game.
That's basically what I'm doing for Pittsburgh. And Jimmy's doing it here for Tampa Bay. First period puck line, full game puck line here, split on the Tampa Bay Lightning for Jimmy against the LA Kings. And by the way, for a team that's already got some injuries on the blue line, the Kings, Sean Walker in particular, and now they lose Alex Edler, one of their veteran defensemen on that blue line long term. So defensive depth is now going to start maybe rearing its ugly head and being maybe a bit of an issue here for Todd McClellan and the LA Kings. You look at it now, you're going to have guys that are Mikey Anderson's going to have to step in, Tobias Bjornfot in the defensive core now for the Kings. Doughty, Roy, Oli Mata are really your 3 veterans. That's it. And Sean Dursey could be a very good one in time, but he's still young. He's still learning. So definitely some depth concerns starting to creep up a little bit for the Kings with some of these injuries they have on the blue line right now. Ottawa and Florida next up. We got Florida -260. Home favorites in this game, 6.5 being the total in this one. Definitely a big number here on Florida, but be careful of, just laying a price like this against Ottawa. You could be in a situation where you're, biting your nails late in the game because we've seen Ottawa now win 4 of their last 5. They had a rough stretch coming out of their own COVID pause a couple weeks ago. But the last 5 games, they've gone 4-1, and they've beaten some quality competition during this stretch too. We just mentioned they shut out Tampa Bay on Saturday. Now you can say what you want. It's Tampa Bay at the end of a road trip. Probably didn't have their best game. Maybe didn't have their legs, maybe considering how long the trip had been. But you can't totally take away what Ottawa was able to do in that game with the 4-0 shutout over the Lightning. They beat Colorado in overtime 6-5. They beat Carolina to start this little 4-1 stretch in their last 5 games. So some decent wins against some quality competition. Florida's coming off a tough 3-2 loss to Colorado. Man, that game got very nasty and very much some bad feelings with those 2 teams at the end. Very rough contest between the Avalanche and Panthers the other night. So they return home now following that game. And that's another thing that concerns me about laying the price here a little bit with Florida. It's coming off that kind of an intense game against Colorado. Florida sizes themselves up as a Stanley Cup contender. Obviously, Colorado does. So, a game like that of that caliber is going to get everybody ramped up. And you wonder if they can, show that same energy focus here. And not to mention, you've got some injuries here for the Panthers. Barkov's out again. He's missed 10 of the last 11 Florida games with that upper body injury. The good news is it looks like Anthony Duclair has a chance to return tonight for the Florida Panthers, which is good news for them. He should be back in the lineup tonight for the Florida Panthers. But Ryan Lomberg, who, of course, is someone that was at the forefront of a hit that happened in the last game against Colorado. He looks like he's on the COVID protocol list now for the Panthers as well. So they're definitely dealing with some things at the moment, Florida. So this is not a night I'm looking to lay a big number here with the Panthers. You look at Spencer Knight, he's in net, but he's kind of been up and down, inconsistent. He's got all the talent in the world, but he's still a young goalie. He's still learning at the NHL level. He's not going to be a brick wall every single night, and we've certainly seen that. I mean, you look at the stats this year for Spencer Knight, who's going to be getting the nod tonight for the Panthers. 2.98 goals against average, 904 save percentage. Those are decent numbers. They're not great by any stretch of the imagination here. So this could be one of those games where, Ottawa can get on the scoreboard in this one a little bit against Florida. Florida still against what's a patchwork Ottawa team at the defensive end of the ice still should be able to find the back of the net. So this could be a lean to the over for me. I'm disappointed at 6.5, but certainly lean over the total here for me with Ottawa and Florida. Alex, Senators and Panthers.
Yeah, there's not one thing I want in this game, to be honest. Even you said Ottawa, you can't really feel like taking a shot with them, in my opinion. So Florida's got a lot of issues, way too many to be laying a price, as high as 275 or 280 at some shops I'm seeing now. So this is just a clear pass for me.
I think it's a tricky game from a side perspective. Johnny in our chat, like an Ottawa plus 1.5. That might be something to consider. Because I think this could be a close game. I like the way Ottawa's responded. And
Yeah.
it was really when DJ Smith called them out and said, we're going to find out how tough we are physically and mentally. They got just embarrassed at home by Vancouver. And that is when this 4-1 stretch started for Ottawa in their last 5 games.
If it's a real rough, start for Florida, maybe this game, ends up being tied. You get the draw here with that big of a favorite. You're probably looking at plus 410, plus 415 price with a draw.
Yeah. This to be honest with you, I like Florida too much to do it, but I would be closer to taking some kind of position on Ottawa than any sort of position with Florida in this price range as favorites tonight. Jimmy, what do you think here, Ottawa, Florida?
I'm loving the sense with you. I'm with you too, Ian. I'm just going to take him straight up on the money line here. Look, it's tough for a team. We've talked about how many times, when a star player comes back and sometimes that screws up the chemistry that was forming while he was out. Well, now he came back and now he's back out again. So think about what that's like. So there's been a lot of mixing and matching going on with the Panthers right now, and they're a bit in flux. So I like the Senators to be able to go down right now. They're, like you said, they've got some confidence going. Go in and steal one.
There we go. Big dog hunting here for Jimmy Murphy. Ottawa plus 230 to plus 240 is the price with the Senators in that one. New York Islanders, Detroit Red Wings. We got Detroit minus 120 to minus 125. Home favorites, 5.5. The total shaded to the under in this one. The New York Islanders, it's been a tough season for them. They're trying to find some traction. They finally got a win to snap an ugly 11-game losing streak against Ottawa, lost their last game to the game after that to Nashville, and then they bounced back, beat New Jersey 4-2 in their last game. But you look at the Islanders going into this game, still not really scoring a ton of goals. That's been an issue. You look at the still without Brian Pullock as well on the blue line, who they've missed dearly throughout the course of the season. That's also a concern for them. And now Matthew Barzal entering COVID-19 protocol and will not play tonight for the New York Islanders. And that's definitely something that you worry about here in this game. To be quite honest with you, I'm not comfortable taking the Islanders just yet. I want to see them put 2 good games in a row together. Please, just win 2 in a row. Show that maybe you're getting some traction going, because I remember I was ready to buy in that they beat Ottawa and now they're ready maybe to get on a little bit of a run, and they fell back again against Nashville. Now they did bounce back to beat New Jersey, but I'm worried. I don't want to see this team go win, lose, win, lose. I want to see them put a little bit of a couple of wins, 2 or 3 wins in a row together before I'm ready to really jump back here on the Islanders. Could they do it tonight? Yes, because Detroit's slumping. They've lost 3 in a row against Nashville, St. Louis, and Colorado. A pretty ugly stretch it's been for the Detroit Red Wings. We'll see if returning home does them some good. They actually have a pretty solid home record this year, 9-5. In fact, the Detroit Red Wings at home. I lean Detroit, to be honest with you. I don't want to take the Islanders here. Don't love it, but I would certainly be closer to betting the Red Wings in this spot than the Islanders, who have just I got to see 2 wins in a row from this group before I'm ready to back them in this spot. Alex, Islanders, Red Wings.
Yeah, I would lean with the Wings, but honestly, I'm going to probably just be on the draw here at plus 300. I feel like this definitely screams like a 2-2 kind of game. If the Islanders play the style they want to play, they obviously want to get a goal early, clamp down defensively, maybe get one, sometime in the middle. Detroit seems to kind of be in this up and down, trying to figure out what exact style they want to play. They've been in some high scoring affairs, but it's mostly been the defense kind of allowing things in the back end. So they're looking to they're searching for their identity. And sometimes if you back a team that's looking for their identity at home, it's probably better than when they're on the road. But I just feel it's going to be a tie game. So I'll go regulation draw plus 300.
All right, draw plus 300, Islanders, Red Wings for Alex. You know what might be worth a look to in this game is the under, because Jeff Blashill pretty adamant that his team's got to clean up their defensive zone issues. And boy, they've had them in the last few games, Detroit. They gave up the 7th spot, a touchdown to Colorado, 6 to St. Louis, 5 to Nashville. in these last 3 games. So Jeff Blashill talking, we got to be better defensively. The Islanders, that they're even going to probably dig in more defensively tonight with no Matthew Barzal on the ice for them. They're going to need, it's time for, there's a bunch of guys that are going to have to wake up, find a way here for this Islanders team. I mean, it's gotten so bad with Anthony Beauvillier this year for the Islanders. Barry Trotz has made him a healthy scratch this year than recent games for the Islanders. That's how bad his game has fallen apart so far this year for the Islanders. So they need some offense from someone, whether it's, I don't know who it is, Wallstrom. Could it be him? He's actually been a little bit better. He's been chipping in some points lately for the Islanders. Brock Nelson's got to percolate a little bit. Anders Lee, got to raise his game to another level. Can you get some depth scoring from Bailey, Parise, and Pajot? You need some guys to step up now for the Islanders offensively, because look, Barzal's out. Beauvillier's offense has disappeared this year. He's in the doghouse of Barry Trotz at the moment. Someone's got to do it for this Islanders team at the moment. So they've got their issues, and this does have that feel. It's probably a lower scoring game. Unfortunately, it's under 5.5, minus 140 in some spots. Heavily juiced, but probably for a good reason. Jimmy, Islanders and Red Wings, what do you like?
Yeah, I'm with you. I love that under right now. I mean, these are 2 teams that, coming into the season, we kind of felt like would be under teams. It hasn't always gone that way. As Alex was saying, the Detroit's kind of helter-skelter with the style they play. But I think Detroit, one thing I do notice is they do, even when they lose, they do seem to adapt more to the style that they're playing against. And they've done an okay job of that and stolen some games and been a good dog at times. So I see them doing that tonight. I think, they're going to come in against a physical Islanders team that can be stingy and is going to try and clamp down on them. And they're going to try and do the same to them. And, I don't know who will get the win. I really don't, but I'm going to go with the under in this.
All right, Jimmy, like an under 5.5 here, Islanders, Red Wings. When you look at it, Beauvillier has no points in 13 straight games that he's played. No wonder he was a healthy scratch the other night. Not even a point. I mean, this is a team that needs a guy like that to be on board and producing and contributing at the offensive end. This is not a team that's loaded with 4 scoring lines like some other teams. He's got to be going for this Islanders team, and clearly he's not, and Barry had enough and sat him down. I don't think he's back tonight either. He looks like he's going to be watching from the press box again tonight for this Islanders team. So definitely trying to find some offense from his top players, and hasn't always been that way for Barry with this Islanders team this year. Buffalo, Winnipeg. We've got Winnipeg minus 260, I should say, in this one. 5.5 the total in this game. I don't really have a strong feel here. Normally with these Buffalo games, I see a total 5.5 over. I'm immediately interested in that. And Winnipeg, certainly when you look at them this year, 8-6 to the over on home ice, a profitable mark to the over at home this year. But I'm going to give Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen his due for the Buffalo Sabres. He's played well in the starts that he's made since getting the call up from the AHL. I thought against Washington he was superb. He's the reason the Sabres got a point in that game and were able to at least salvage 1 point in that 3-2 shootout loss against Washington. I thought he played well against the Rangers. It shows you how well he's playing. Don Granato didn't hesitate. He put Luukkonen in back-to-back games over the weekend against the Rangers and the Capitals, and he played well in both of those games. And I think the Sabres, with their offensive struggles, 2 goals or less scored by them in the last 3 games, with Luukkonen playing well in net, it's not an automatic for me to bet over the total. Normally this would be with these 2 teams and a total of 5.5, but I think it's just going to be a pass for me in this one. Certainly from a side perspective, like I'm not taking Buffalo. It's worth noting that even though Luukkonen's played well in these last few starts he's made, these last 3 against Anaheim, the Rangers, and the Capitals, what's Buffalo's record in those 3 games? Oh yeah, 0-3, because there's no run support, so to speak, for Luukkonen right now from this Sabres team. So lean over, but I'm probably going to leave it alone on a very big Tuesday card. Alex, what do you think here? Sabres and Jets.
Yeah, I mean, and we haven't seen the confirmation yet that it's going to be Luukkonen. There could be an Aaron Dell sighting, which of course that would mean the over. Look for the garbage can on my Twitter
That changes
account.
things totally if that's the case.
Yeah. Look for the garbage can sign on my Twitter account at AX Smith Sports. If you see the garbage can posted, that means it's Dell starting, and we're going over. And it's interesting because Anton Khudobin was put on waivers by Dallas. You'd think a team like Buffalo would try to reach out and grab him. Like, they have you have 4 goalies, which means you have none. So why not get a guy who would literally play the Stanley Cup final 2 years ago, rather than deal with all the rotating mess of Craig Anderson, whether he gets back healthy, Aaron Dell, and the likes. And Luukkonen looks good, but he still could use a little bit more seasoning in Rochester, in my opinion. So that's something they might want to look at moving forward. So it's nothing right now. It's over if Dell plays.
All right. And I'm just looking right now, and it doesn't look like we're going to get our wish, Alex. It does look like it will be Pekka Luukkonen confirmed as the starter for the Sabres, and Connor Hellebuck as expected as well for the Winnipeg Jets, with the Jets obviously not playing on the short card tomorrow night. So you would expect Hellebuck for them, and it is indeed him. So yeah, that probably puts that in the pass category now for me. Jimmy, what do you think here, Buffalo, Winnipeg?
I'm going to based on the way a lot of these games have gone for both teams, I love these guys scoring some goals in the first period. I'm going to go with the first period over in this one. You can still get a very good price at it. And Alex, just so you know, I think it was Elliot Friedman or Jeff Marek a couple weeks back did report that Buffalo and Dallas were talking about Hudobin, but apparently nothing materialized, and that, there wasn't a bite from on the market other than that. So that's why he was placed on waivers. Whether that starts up again, who knows?
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
All right, so there we go. Like in the first period over, Jimmy, with the Sabres and the Jets. Well, next game we were going to talk about was Carolina, Minnesota. But if you're joining the show late, or obviously if you're listening to the podcast, you've heard it already. But Carolina and Minnesota postponed as unfortunately the number of cases is climbing. 4 more positive COVID-19 tests today for Carolina, and that has resulted in that game being postponed. So we will move down the card to St. Louis and Dallas. We've got the Dallas Stars -150 to -160 home favorites, 5.5 the total, shaded to the under in this game. Dallas Stars kind of starting to see a little freaky home road thing going on with the Dallas Stars. I mean, a lot of their wins have been at home, and then they go on the road just now, the last 3. They blow a game against Vegas where they had a 4-2 lead in the third. They lose 5-4. They get shut out in LA, and then they lose to San Jose 2-1. So 0-3 on the road trip, but now back home where they've been just outstanding for the last several weeks. In fact, this Dallas team, just been really good all year at home, but especially of late, 8 straight home victories for the Dallas Stars going into this game tonight against the St. Louis Blues. St. Louis, though, they've won 3 of their last 4, coming off a 3-2 overtime loss against the Anaheim Ducks in overtime. And I'm telling you what, this, you got to give the Ducks credit, because that was the end of a pretty lengthy road trip for them, and found a way to still get the job done against the St. Louis Blues in that game. So Blues looking to bounce back from that game the other night. This is an interesting one. Dallas has been an under machine lately, 9-1 for the Dallas Stars toward the under in their last 10 games, and certainly series history wise, 7-2-1 in the last 10 meetings between the Blues and the Stars have gone under. I kind of get the sense this could be one of those spots for sure where we might see a little bit of a lower scoring game. Just in general, I've not been enamored with betting unders with Lindgren, but he's been a little bit more serviceable than I thought. And of course, he'll get the start tonight for St. Louis. And Jake Ottinger, this is a young kid that continues to, I think, get better with each and every start. 5-1, 1.52 goals against average, .951 save percentage this year for Ottinger. He's got great numbers going into this one. It is coming off a road trip, and it is a high price. If I had gotten something close to where this line opened, around -125, -130, I probably would have a wager on the Stars here. No, -160 though. In some spots now, I'm not interested anymore at that number. I certainly lean Stars, but I'm going to pass on this one. Alex, St. Louis, Dallas.
I'm actually going to take a shot here with Dallas in regulation. I bet this earlier. I got it. I found -$1.10 at one spot. Then thankfully I waited, found another spot that had it at even money. So definitely want to shop around with some of those regulation prices. But this is a team that's dominated at home right now. I feel like they can keep that rolling against the St. Louis teams having goaltending issues. So I'm going to look for here. And Ottinger starting for Dallas. I think now he can finally get the chance to prove that he's worth being a 1A, 1B option, if not the overall number 1 starter in due time. Now with Hudobin out of the picture. So I like Dallas here in the spot in regulation.
All right, Dallas in regulation for Alex. Yeah, there's a little delay after when I unmute my mic today because I'm just looking. There's so much things you got to keep on top of today. So I'm
Yeah.
reading things, I'm looking over things, and making sure we're trying
This
to
day
give
is
you.
nuts, guys. It's
It
like
is. It is.
hard because I'm always monitoring stuff, trying to write and stay up to date. It's nuts, and the texts I'm getting right now are not good.
Yeah, it's not good. Like this is
I don't know
blowing
if
up
they
in a
play
big way, in a
tonight
bad
in
way.
Boston. I think we're gonna find out something within the next hour.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll keep an eye on that. And if we have anything before we end the show, any extra news about certain, more cases, postponements, whatever, we'll certainly let you know about them for sure moving forward. But again, for the Blues, there's just a ton of guys still out for this team. I mean, it is unreal. Robert Thomas, Braden Shen, David Perron, James Neal, of course, the top two goalies, Binnington and Husso, Jordan Kyrou day-to-day now, Justin Falk day-to-day, Tyler Bozak day-to-day. Now they've cleared protocol. Falk has going into this game, so he might be good to go. Kairou's not likely to play because his is an injury, an upper body injury. So the Blues are a mash unit right now. It's another reason why I can understand why the Dallas money's come in. But Dallas does have their own couple of key guys out, of course. Radulov is a game time decision. Actually, probably won't play tonight. Rupe Hintz is out. He's been one of their better players of late for the Dallas Stars. He won't play in this game tonight. Yoel Kiviranta, a depth forward for them, won't suit up tonight either. So definitely some issues for Dallas as well, but they're still healthier than the Blues at the moment. So again, if you got the price early with Dallas, you got a good bet, but now it's gone up, but not betting it at the current price, but still lean to the Stars. All right, Toronto and Edmonton, one of the showcase games tonight in the NHL on this Tuesday slate. We've got the Leafs minus 120, road favorites 6.5 the total in this one. Something's got to give here in this game, and it's going to be fascinating, guys, to see what does give, because the Leafs defense is vulnerable at the moment. There's no question about that. We've seen the way the Leafs have played in their own zone the last few games. It hasn't been pretty. Remember, they've got a couple of guys that you would think, Rasmus Sandin and Travis Dermott are defensemen that are not going to move the needle. The common hockey fan is going to say, okay, they can make do without them. But you realize, with the blue line for the Leafs the way it is, those two guys are valuable in terms of how they play in their own zone. Sandin was really playing well before the injury happened to him. Same with Travis Dermott. And now all of a sudden you've got guys that are not used to being in an NHL game, on the depth positions on the blue line right now for the Leafs. And as a result, you're seeing this team just give up way more quality chances against than they did during that great stretch earlier this year where they were dominating. So right now the Leafs have some defensive issues to work out, and Sheldon Keefe's adamant, we got to clean it up. It's not been good enough the last few games. It wasn't good enough against Columbus. It wasn't good enough against Winnipeg, Minnesota, Tampa, Chicago the other night. They got away with it against Chicago the other night because they scored a lot, and they got a very fortuitous bounce on the eventual game-winning goal in the third period that night. But nevertheless, the Leafs certainly are a little vulnerable at the defensive end right now. Problem is, Edmonton can't find the back of the net at the moment. So what's going to give here in this game? The Oilers have had trouble putting the puck in the net. They've scored. This is hard to believe with this Oilers group, but they've scored 2 goals or less in 4 straight and part of this 5-game losing streak that they're on. So this automatically doesn't become it's tough. It's not an automatic over for me, even though it's 6.5 here. I haven't bet it yet, to be honest with you. I would probably prefer this drops down a little bit to 6 before I bet an over in this game. Certainly Toronto's trended that way. They've gone over the total, the Leafs, in, I believe, 7 straight going into this. But Edmonton, they've gone under the total in 3 straight, and it's because the puck's just not going in for them right now. Zach Hyman's not going to play as well tonight for the Edmonton Oilers, so bear that in mind. They've got multiple key players out, including, of course, Hyman, multiple defensemen out. The Leafs, of course, with Sandin and Dermott out. Mitch Marner's still out. Jason Spezza is serving his suspension as well. And now Nick Ritchie has been added to the injury list, although it's an illness for him. They haven't said whether it's COVID-19 or not, but it's an illness. He's not traveling with the team. He won't play. And he's actually picked things up offensively in the last few games for Toronto. So there's just lots going around here. Still going to be a fun game to watch. I would only bet over, but 6.5, I don't know. With the way Edmonton is struggling to score, and Toronto's harping on it again. Hey, we got to tighten it up now. Enough with this, track meet mentality, enough with letting teams back into games like Columbus, like Chicago, 2 games where the Leafs had a big lead and nearly coughed it up and lost. The Leafs are really, really focusing on better defense, but they've said this 2 games previous to this as well, and we haven't seen any change or any better defense. So that's why I still lean to the over, but I'm on the fence whether I'm going to bet it or not. I would lean over, though, in this game. Should be interesting to see how it plays out. Alex, Toronto, Edmonton.
Yeah, Jared Gruber makes a good point in the chat that 14 of the last 17 games, Oilers have allowed the first goal, and this is a the Toronto team that has been doing well in the first period. They've been getting goals in that first 10-minute range. I would actually look at maybe taking Maple Leafs to score first. You'd be laying $1.35. That's a bit high for a prop like this, but these 2 trends riding that kind of hard and heavy. I wouldn't be shocked to see Toronto get the scoring going first, and what should be a back and forth affair. Is the reason we're seeing these totals. The first period overs at 2. He said 6.5 for the full game total. So maybe I'll just stay out of that. Maybe try to just pick out spots in game to get where these goals come from. But I'll start off by laying $1.35 with Toronto to score the first goal.
Yeah, it does. It does actually appear that's true that Duncan Keith might play. Maybe an option for this game, and he hasn't played in a while for the Edmonton Oilers. I don't know if the Leaf team is the best team to put him in against when he's been out for a while, Duncan Keith. But nevertheless, it certainly would be reinforcement, if you will, for this Oilers blue line. But to be honest with you, the Oilers' defensive play hasn't been necessarily their biggest problem lately. Shockingly, it's been their lack of offense and lack of ability to find the back of the net during this recent skid. It's tough from a side perspective because Toronto's starting a road trip, bet on spot. They're not happy with their game. They've won these games against Columbus and Chicago. They did lose the Tampa game, but they've won a couple of these games, but they've not been happy with the trajectory of their overall team game. So I expect them to come in here with purpose, but you also expect Edmonton to come in here with purpose, desperate to snap a 5-game losing streak. So hopefully that leads to a good hockey game tonight between these 2 teams. Jimmy, what do you think here, Leafs Oilers?
What I think is, while I would have no problem usually with a 6.5 over under for an Edmonton Oilers Toronto Maple Leafs game, guys, I think it's too high based on the current form and everything you've just been discussing. I mean, look, the Edmonton Oilers have lost 5 straight. And you pointed out a good thing. They haven't been that bad defensively there. It's been more their bottom 6 forwards not getting the job done and not delivering the depth they need and that they had gotten earlier in the season. So they're going to be looking to have a structured game, come out there, pay attention to details, keep it simple, and get the goals they can get. And I think Toronto, too, you mentioned the last few games they've been kind of topsy-turvy and probably driving the coaching staff nuts. So they're going to come in there with the same mindset. I see an under here, so I'm going under 6.5.
Yeah, it could be. That's exactly why I'm hesitant on this one when it comes to the total. New York Rangers, Colorado Avalanche. We've got Colorado minus 180 to minus 190 home favorites in this game. 6 the total here, pretty much across the board in this one. Should be one of the better games. And shout out to great broadcaster who's going to be on play-by-play for this game on ESPN Plus tonight, Bob Wischusen. He's a guy that did Rangers radio a long time ago. I think on a part-time basis. I don't think he was full-time, but he was just very, very happy on Twitter that he's announced that I'm going to be calling my first Rangers game in like 15 years tonight. So very, very, and what a game to call. Rangers and Avalanche, one of the best games on the board tonight, an ESPN Plus exclusive with Bob Wischusen calling it for them. Should be a great game. I'm on dog here. I'm taking a shot with the Rangers at a plus price here. I like the way the Rangers play on the road. This is a little bit of a short turnaround, rapid revenge situation for the Rangers. We remember Colorado went into Madison Square Garden last week and just ate them alive. But remember, Adam Huska was in net that night. It was a very, very tough situation. You're going to throw Huska to the wolves in that spot, playing a Colorado team that's just absolutely lighting it up like gangbusters. At the offensive end of the ice right now. And it was just a difficult situation for the Rangers. I think the Rangers might have been caught peeking ahead to this game too with the way they played against Nashville. It was kind of a sleepy type of effort the other night against Nashville. They get shut out 1-0 in that game. I think they come in here with a lot of purpose. I like the way they played on the road this year, coming into this game with a 10-5 road record, the New York Rangers. I just think it's just like Colorado's terrific right now, the way they're getting contributions offensively up and down their lineup, and it's everybody chipping in for the Avalanche. It's Rantanen, it's McKinnon, it's Makar from the blue line. Comfer's back now. Alex Newhook, who I've been singing the praises of him for a while now. He's been good offensively. This Colorado team is still just outstanding at that end of the ice, and they've been winning games left and right. They've been just absolutely scoring goals for fun, if you will, during this great stretch. They've gone 7-3 in their last 10. They've won 4 straight. They've scored 7, 7, 7, and 3. And to be honest with you, if you had the over rather, in the Colorado-Florida game, kind of a bad break, because there could have been so many goals early in that game, tons of goals early in that game. And unfortunately, it took until the third period for the floodgates to open offensively in that game, but it was just a little bit too late. And it just fell short of the full game total with the 3-2 win for Colorado. And just like I talked about this with Florida against Ottawa, that was a chippy game. That was a lot of physicality to it. There was some nasty play on the ice between the Avalanche and the Panthers the other night. Kind of had that sense of teams that played that game like, hey, maybe we see them in a Stanley Cup final next year. It kind of had that feel to it, that Colorado-Florida game. Could it be difficult for Colorado to ramp it back up again tonight for this game against the Rangers? I think there's a possibility there. So there's a live dog. I think it's a good, competitive, close game, and I think the Rangers have more than a puncher's chance. I mean, this is being priced like the Colorado Avalanche are playing a San Jose or an Anaheim or LA at home. We're talking about them in a -180 to -190 home favorite price range against a terrific Rangers team that's coming off a loss that got beaten down by Colorado at the Garden last week. I think you get the Rangers best, and if we get it, they've got a shot here. Give me the Rangers at a big dog price. Also the over 6 in this one. And don't sleep on Georgiev. Georgiev, we've ripped him a lot, rightfully so. He's played better lately. Yeah. He's on a good run lately in net for the Rangers. He's played solid, so he can step up, I think, tonight and hopefully lead the Rangers to a big win on the road in the Mile High City. Alex, what do you think here, Rangers and Avs?
Yeah, this should be a very entertaining game to watch, and I honestly would be taking a shot with the Rangers, but I'm going to go first period money line plus 150. I think they'll be able to kind of jump out early, maybe get a goal, and like I said, they're going to be settled in a lot more because of the fact it's Georgiev and net. They had Huska in that last game at the Garden, and he ended up just giving up goals galore in that second period, but they were still competitive in the first. So with a better goaltender and a bit of revenge on their minds, I think Rangers first period, that's the best way to kind of play it safe. And then, like I said, if you poke the sleeping bear, that is the offense of the Colorado Avalanche, they wake up and they can score goals. Like I said, we saw 5 in the second period last time these two teams met. So they could do the exact same thing potentially. I don't want any part of this full game. I'll just go with the first period.
And believe it or not, we talk about all these teams with COVID-19 issues and injuries and who's going to play, who's going to suit up. The Rangers are relatively healthy compared to a lot of other teams right now, other than Shesterkin. That's a big one, don't get me wrong, and Sammy Blais. But other than that, it's a relatively healthy team. Whereas you look at Colorado here, Landeskog is not going to play tonight. He's going to be out at least 2 weeks with a lower body injury. The captain of the Colorado Avalanche not going to play. Nazem Kadri day-to-day. With a lower body injury, didn't play Sunday, questionable to return tonight. Bo Byram on the blue line, also questionable to suit up tonight. And Devon Taves is the big one. I've said this about Devon Taves for a while for Colorado. There a lot of guys that can move the puck, a lot of guys that are skilled and talented offensively as defensemen on this team. Devon Taves is one of those just stay-at-home, shut down, good in his own end, will really be good to help prevent goals against. And he won't play tonight for the Colorado Avalanche. He's in COVID-19 protocol for them. One of their best shutdown stay-at-home defensemen by far is Devon Taves. And I've talked about how much weaker this team is at keeping pucks out of their own net when Devon Taves is not on the ice, and he won't be on the ice tonight for the Colorado Avalanche. So that's an impact injury on the blue line, or absence, I should say, on the blue line, because it's a COVID-19 protocol situation that's keeping Devon Taves out for this game tonight for Colorado. Jimmy, Rangers and Avalanche.
Yeah, I mean, for every reason you guys discussed, I love the Rangers in this game right now. So I'm going to take them in the whole game on the money line there. I'm also going to take the team total over for the Rangers as well.
All right, good stuff. So that's Rangers. You can get the Rangers, by the way, plus 160 to plus 170 right now in that range. And Jimmy liking the team total over 2.5 right here with that really is cheap, actually, the team total on the Rangers here, 2.5 in this game, which is really surprising here, but that's probably a good way to go. 2.5 minus 125 for Rangers team total. All right, Columbus, Vancouver. We got Vancouver minus 140, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this one. Ride that Canuck train, baby. That's all I got to say. I've been on Vancouver every game since the coaching change, and I said, all along in every Canucks game, I'm betting this team every game till they lose under Bruce Boudreau, and that has not happened yet for the Vancouver Canucks. Been a solid stretch with their new head coach. And you read some of the things that you're hearing and reading from the Canucks in these last few games that they've put together since the coaching change under Bruce Boudreau. You would think this is a husband and a wife on their honeymoon, where it's just everything's perfect. There's no tremors, there's no trouble. Everything is just, life is perfect right now. That's what it sounds like with Vancouver. Everybody's happy again. Players are smiling again. Confidence is coming back. Brock Besser's found out how to score goals again, heeding his coach's advice to shoot the puck more. I mean, it's just like cloud nine right now for this Vancouver team. Now, we'll see when they get that first loss, if things can go back on the rails again when they finally lose a game. But that has not happened just yet for this Vancouver team. And look, they beat LA, shut them out 4-0, beat Boston in a shootout, beat Winnipeg in a shootout, and then a 2-1 win against Carolina the other night. So, close games. It's not like they're rolling past teams, but right now they're playing good defensively, much better since Bruce Boudreau's been there. Thatcher Demko's been solid in net. And like I say, some of their top players are finally starting to figure out how to produce again for them, specifically Besser. And look, Elias Pettersson gets on the scoreboard and scores the second goal for them against Carolina on Sunday night. So if they could only get him going, on a regular basis, then Vancouver might really have something going. You look at Columbus, they're off a 5-4 overtime win against Seattle, but boy, they're a mess in their own zone. They coughed up a big lead to Seattle in that game, nearly blew it, and ended up losing 5-4. They're struggling overall, still 2-6 in their last 8 games. The only victories were the Kraken and the Sharks, which isn't saying much during that stretch. Again, they've really had a tough time keeping the puck out of their own net. And I'm going to say this again about Elvis, who is probably going to be in the building tonight for the Jackets. He's been terrific at home. It's been a little bit more ordinary at home on the road this year. Elvis Merzlikins in net for the Jackets. And look, he doesn't have the greatest blue line right now in front of him either. So for me, it's Vancouver. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. The one thing, Vancouver's played a lot of tight games with all these wins they've had since the coaching change. So I don't want to tempt regulation, even though you're going to get a better price there. I'm just going to stick to the full game money line here. Vancouver minus 135 in this one. Alex, Blue Jackets and Canucks.
Yeah, like you said, everything's all love and flowers and balloons right now with Vancouver. But once the kids start crying and the pets start barking, we'll see how things go, because we know how Boudreaux can get when he's not happy. We've seen that countless times over. But in this game, the only thing I would be looking at here would be the over. I mean, that's just kind of, it's near automatic when you think about it with the way Columbus is. Like I said, they're brutal in their own end, lost 6 of their last 8. They have done well against Vancouver over the years, and the road team in this series is 10-3 last 13. I still don't think they're going to be able to do enough to win this game. I do think Vancouver keeps the streak rolling, but I like this to be a higher scoring affair. So I'll give me 5.5 over $1, minus $1.15.
All right. Yeah. Over 5.5, minus 115 for the Columbus Vancouver game for Alex in this one. Jimmy, Columbus Vancouver.
I'll tell you what I think, guys. Bruce, there it is. Bruce, there it is. Give me the Canucks on the puck line.
There you go. Jimmy puck line. Vancouver minus 1.5 here.
Right in the Boudreaux wave.
Yep, plus 165. Hey, ride it until they lose at this point. That's what I said I'd be doing the moment the coaching change happened, and that's exactly what we're doing here.
Do you think if this streak gets to 6, then he'll probably end up losing Game 7 like he usually does in the playoffs?
Very possible. Wouldn't that be something? The 7th game of the coaching tenure, that's the one you lose. It sounds like a lot of Aprils and Mays in your past.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I can't even say June because he hasn't even gotten there. I think April and May is always where he's
with the way COVID's going, he might get there by default and it won't even be the playoffs.
Yeah, right. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean that's a good one, Alex. Bravo. But yeah, it's no, I mean, you got to give them credit. I mean, they've really played good team defense during this stretch. Demko's been good in net. They're starting to get some of their bigger hired guns getting their offensive mojo back again. So it's like I say, everything's looking really nice right now for the Vancouver Canucks. Now it's just a question of how long can they keep this run going moving forward with Bruce Boudreau behind the bench. All right, before we get to the last game, we want to mention DraftKings Sportsbook, our great partners here at the Ice Guys and the Hockey Podcast Network. Of course, official sports betting partner of the NFL and NHL. You'll be a winner with just one NFL point scored in an NFL game. New customers who bet just $1 on any team to score in an NFL game can win $100 in free bets. It's that simple. DraftKings Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet. You can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports Contests. DraftKings giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THPN. Bet $1 on any team to score and win $100 in free bets. If they score, you score with promo code THPN. This week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL and NHL, must be 21 years of age or older, must reside in a DraftKings Sportsbook state, new customers only, minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required, one per customer, restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up for an account, use the promo code THPN. All right, final game of this 13-game mega card on this Tuesday. Seattle Kraken, San Jose Sharks. We've got San Jose minus 135, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. Seattle, it's just been an exercise in frustration for them. You know, there's some games they score one goal, they get shut out and they lose, and then they actually rally back against Columbus. Offense shows some life, scores 4 goals, and they still lose the other night to the Columbus Blue Jackets. So tough sledding for Seattle. And look, even on the home ice, playing in front of the fans that are just so excited to have the franchise there, you know, they've struggled even on home ice lately, 3 straight losses. So maybe it's not the worst thing in the world that Seattle's going on the road here to play this San Jose Sharks team. We'll see how it goes for them. We've talked about this Seattle over machine lately. It really is something. I think we're along the lines now, 14-4 to the over in the last 18 games for Seattle. Really is amazing that they've trended over the total this way. And it's usually a combination of them scoring and the opponent scoring, or one or the other, that are pushing those games over the total. San Jose with a 2-1 win against Dallas in their last game. It was one of those games where, look, Dallas had enough chances to try to tie it, but it was another really strong effort in net from James Reimer, who to me has probably been a little bit better than Aiden Hill this season for the San Jose Sharks. He's already been confirmed, James Reimer, as the goalie tonight for San Jose in this one. Probably going to be Grubauer for the Kraken, you know, who continues to definitely have his share of struggles. Not anywhere close to what he was able to do last year with the Colorado Avalanche. To see where he's at, 3.25 goals against average, .884 save percentage, and of course gave up the 5 goals in that overtime loss to Columbus on Saturday night. I don't love it, but I'm going to take it over 5.5 here, Seattle and San Jose. The only concern is San Jose at home, and with Reimer in net, they've really tried to tighten it up. That could be the case here, but 14-4 over in the last 18 Kraken games. Total's only 5.5. I'm still willing to go ahead and bet it. Seattle, San Jose over 5.5 here, around minus 110. Alex, Kraken and Sharks.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like you said, kind of play the over. We've seen it cash quite often with Seattle, but I feel like this is just going to be a good spot for San Jose. The first time meeting, and, you know, the division rivals, they know they're going to be seeing each other a lot over the years, and we'll see how, you know, whether the animosity builds or not. That's something to always kind of keep note with these first time meetings in the conference. Of course, Vegas and San Jose completely hate each other after the battles they had in the first 3 years in the league. So it may not jump off exactly like that, but I think San Jose has enough. They're the better team here. They can get the win. So I took them in regulation at even money.
All right, there we go. Liking San Jose here in regulation, Alex. Sharks to take care of business here against the Seattle Kraken. Yanni Gourde, among others, didn't suit up as well for the Seattle Kraken. They entered COVID protocol prior to the last game against Columbus. And the latest update on them is I don't think we're going to see them back. It was him and Riley Sheahan that were out the other night and in COVID protocol. So you won't see Yanni Gourde. You won't see Riley Sheahan either tonight for the Seattle Kraken in this game. So they're still out of the lineup once again here tonight against the Sharks. Jimmy, Seattle, San Jose.
Yeah, I'm liking the same thing as Alex. I like the Sharks in regulation, and then I'm also going to go with the under on the total here as well. San Jose has been, the goaltending's been pretty good for them lately, and they're playing better defensively. So give me the under and the Sharks in regulation.
All right, under 5.5. and San Jose in regulation as well. For Jimmy, that is around even money in this one, plus 105 with San Jose in regulation. All right, that is the Tuesday card. Man, it's always, a lot of work to handicap the card. Yeah, throw in a million COVID cases. Yeah, it makes it even harder. Of course, I'm being over-exaggerating with the number, but you get my point. You catch my drift. It feels like a million cases, right, Jimmy?
Sure.
Yeah, it's nonstop.
It's nonstop. So it was a scramble, and it was a headache to cap this card, but we did it. We hope we gave you all the updated information as much as we have it at our disposal here during this Ice Guys show, but we appreciate it. And yes, to everyone in the chat, if you're not aware, it's important I drill this home again. We are here 7 days a week. We're the only NHL betting show daily that is here 7 days a week. Every single NHL game, regular season, postseason, is covered right here and analyzed and discussed from a betting perspective right here on the Ice Guys 7 days a week. Right here on YouTube, and also download the podcast if you can't watch the show live. So we appreciate you guys joining us. Make sure you hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube. It helps us out quite a bit as well. All right. Hopefully we can help you guys out quite a bit with our best bets to wrap up the show for this Tuesday card. Alex, we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet?
Yeah, I was scanning through because there's a lot of bets that I do like tonight on this pretty big Tuesday card. But let's just go with the Islanders in Detroit, regulation draw plus 300. He said, I just don't feel like this is going to be where one team jumps out ahead of the other. It feels like it could be just a neck and neck race. Might be a great game to bet live where you can, what team A scores, bet team B to score next kind of thing. So I like the Isles and the Red Wings to go into overtime plus 300 is my best bet tonight.
All right, New York Islanders and Detroit going for the big plus price with the draw as Alex's best bet for this Tuesday card. Yeah, Moses asking, you guys need to get hoodies. We do have hoodies. We've got Ice Guys hoodies.
Yep, go to Ice Guys, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. We have hoodies, we've got t-shirts. The caps are back in stock as well, so we've got all that for your desire over there.
And there's many episodes of this show I've been wearing the hoodie that I have, and I'll bring that out again later this week on one of the shows for sure, and I'll be wearing the Ice Guys hoodie again. But yeah, there's all kinds of great Ice Guys clothing, merch, apparel, you name it, at the Ice Guys store. So make sure
you even have bandanas for your dog. So.
There you go. And I know Melissa's gotten one of those as well, and a couple others as well have gotten some of those. So definitely check out the store for any Ice Guys gear that you are interested in. All right, Jimmy, we're interested in your best bet for this Tuesday card. What is it, Jimmy?
Well, I think it was 2 Tuesdays ago. I picked the Bruins opponent in regulation on home ice, and I think that's what's going to happen again tonight. Give me the Vegas Golden Knights. And actually, that's what I meant to get. I gave you that earlier, right? Or did I say the money line?
I think you said Vegas puck line.
Oh, reverse puck line. Yeah. So I'm going with that. Give me that. I like a 4-2 Vegas Golden Knights winning this. So give me the reverse puck line.
All right. And you can get Vegas, by the way, -1.5 on the puck line, plus 250 with the Vegas Golden Knights. That'll be Jimmy.
And I apologize, guys. This show started so long ago that my brain's in all the COVID stuff. My brain is a mush right now.
Oh yeah, it's been hectic. Oh, if you're following NHL and you're a better handicapper, beat writer, reporter, someone on television covering NHL. You're trying to stay on top of this.
Imagine that today.
Yep.
Those guys are changing a lot by the hour.
Yep, it is. Things are changing. So basically, make sure you stay on, stay connected is the best word. Make sure you definitely stay on top and be apprised of what is going on in terms of the NHL situation. Because you're right, it's fluid. It's changing not only day to day, it's changing hour to hour right now at this point in time. All right, best bet for me on this Tuesday card. I kind of feel like going for a plus price shot tonight like Alex did. And it actually is one of my strongest plays on the card. It might be my strongest play. And it's the New York Rangers. I really think they're live tonight at Colorado. I know it's not easy to beat the Avalanche, but you can get plus 160 to plus 170 in that range right now with the New York Rangers. They're off a loss. They've been good on the road all year. They got drilled by the Avalanche last week at Madison Square Garden. Colorado's coming off a heated, spirited, intense, physical affair with Florida the other night. I think this is a live dog in a great plus spot for the New York Rangers, who are Colorado's a great hockey team. New York Rangers are a pretty damn good hockey team too, and I think they show it tonight. New York Rangers plus 170. We're going with that for my best bet for this Tuesday NHL card. And that'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. We thank everybody in the chat for joining us. Make sure you hit the like button for those of you watching on YouTube. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Download the podcast when you can't watch the show live on YouTube. For Alex B. Smith and Jimmy Murphy, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will talk to you again tomorrow on Wednesday for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.